It's always the plant you water which grows. This old idea shows up in many cultures. In Native American traditions, it's the wolf you feed which lives. In modern spiritual language, it represents the law of attraction. In Christianity, it is the physics behind ask and you shall receive. It's always the plant you water which grows. The idea itself is quite agnostic, really. A fairly dispassionate observation of basic cause and effect. Nourish plant, plant grows. Fail to nourish plant, plant either dies or never exists in the first place. Where we place our attention, focus, and creativity, stuff happens. That stuff is typically proportional to the amount of attention, focus, and creativity we apply to it in the first place. The power of this can be viewed scientifically, spiritually, or, in my preference, both. Most of us can agree upon the basic premise that what we water grows. Where we might differ is in our opinion of what, if anything, is behind that premise and how widely it applies. Meaning, is the hand of God in it as well? Do we have energetic power in our acts of prayer? If so, what if we used it a little bit more on purpose? More importantly, how have we been using it so far? The reason I mention this is because we are in a rare moment in human civilization. And it's possible, thanks to social media, for a vast number of people to be thinking and praying for the same things at generally the same time. What do you suppose the long-term effect of that will be? Because we're doing it. I've always believed that what we think today will result in our experience of tomorrow. That doesn't mean happiness is guaranteed any more than tragedy is prevented. It simply determines our ability to fully enjoy the happinesses and cope with the tragedies we all inevitably face. It's about capacity. What I think today makes me either more or less capable of loving, of receiving support, and collaborating with others tomorrow. For I am wiring my brain as I speak. And what I transmit from it is dependent on how much I am at peace. I am always transmitting something. Is it peaceful or fearful should be my principal concern, because that's what will dictate my ability to enjoy or to cope with the future, no matter what it may bring. Now, let's reverse engineer our present moment. Where are we right now? We are in the middle of a global pandemic, the first of its kind in virtually any of our lives. The entire world is having an original experience together. How we've been thinking in the past is showing up in how we're now coping with the present. Beyond our own country's inner conflict on the subject, look at the world. Look at how the world is stepping up and facing this dilemma together. This is very revealing, and the news is good. Those who work together best are the ones who shall survive the easiest. There are many good people in this country participating in that work as well. Send your good energy to them. Send it to them and all everywhere. And now let's directly address the elephant in the room. It's really difficult in America right now. The haphazard way we are dealing with this pandemic is a symptom, however, not the problem itself. It's a symptom of our desire for systematic change and the resistance to change the system is exhibiting in response. We've begun to realize a few things, and the old system doesn't like it. And so when the old system is tested, it fails. A recalibration is always next. It's natural. And it ain't easy. We now, many of us, know the plants we've been watering are no longer nourishing us. And we find that perhaps they never were. This is a shock. But I know the American people will prevail, because this country actually belongs to us all, even if some would prefer to think otherwise. The irony is the new system is stacked more greatly against them than those on the loving side of history. If that weren't so, they wouldn't be trying so hard to make things go back to the way they were before. Evolution is natural, and humanity appears to be evolving toward love, not away from it. That's why we see the conflict we're seeing. That's the evidence of what plant is really being watered here. Take stock of what the underlying arguments really are. It could easily be seen as a metaphor of the battle of light and dark. The dark would like you to believe that it has equal power to light, or even greater. But it has no power at all of its own. A single candle will banish it utterly from a room, and darkness itself has no power over it, except for what it has convinced you it has. Returning to the global view, in the past, one might have imagined humanity one day reaching a certain saturation point in the population on this planet where our fear of limited resources outweighs our humanity. One could also certainly imagine that being the case this very minute. And to the degree it makes marketable news, the stories of that are front and center, yes. But they are not statistically the most prevalent. There's far more collaboration and compassion occurring in the world than the exercise of greed. More now than has ever been the case, in fact. That was statistically demonstrable even before the pandemic. Humanity has been on the right track toward becoming a peaceful society for a long time now. These are big systems we're insisting make changes. Be patient, but firm. Now, I recognize that it's a stretch for some people to believe that humanity is suffering because it's succeeding. I'm an optimist, admittedly, but I also think I'm correct. And I think there's evidence to conclude we've been doing a lot of the right things. You can always tell what path you're on by who you piss off. And in my view, it's always important to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. Looking at the timeline of human history, we are incrementally getting it. That's the reason we're struggling so right now. There is more light in the world than there used to be, and it has had an effect. Now we should conclude to use it purposefully. For if we return to our original idea, that it's always the plant you water which grows, exactly what is growing for us right now? What seeds have we been watering so fervently that they should blossom into this wide spectrum experience we're collectively having? And as scary as it is at this moment, will the eventual outcome have any value for humanity? Is there benevolence here? What are we adding to this slingshot of this experience with our own thoughts and prayers, attention and creativity? What are you adding to it with these? What's going on in your head these days? What plant are you watering right now? Be at ease now. As you breathe, notice your toes. Breathe into your toes. Allow now the breath to extend into your legs. Feel your ongoing breath comfort and relax them. Feel them being pleasantly affected by the breath. As you continue to breathe in and out, feel the swirl of air rising up. now spinning inside your hips and your lower abdomen and up into your heart chakra. This is where we should spend our time together today. And breathe as you allow the swirl of spinning air to expand to your shoulders, arms, neck, head, and crown chakra. This inner wind has suddenly stopped. A feeling like silence is left, but different. It is a silence filled with purpose. Relax and breathe naturally. Picture a single drop of water hovering as if by magic inside an elegant glass vial. Picture its size and design. See the smoothness of the glass and its delicate shape. Examine the droplet inside. It floats in midair as if the chamber were empty of gravity, floating as a round ball inside it. You have a sudden thought, it knows you're there. This is every drop of water on the planet, in every form in which it exists or ever shall. This drop is life itself. It has presented itself to you. Feel your breath in the palm of your hand. Breathe into the palm of your hand. Let the vial appear there. As you breathe, send your peace into it. Send your love into it. As you breathe, perceive a response from the water. Imagine it responding in some way to what you say or think. You realize it's hearing you. And breathe. What will you say now? What would you have the drop of water know, since you now know it's listening? What would you hope it would feel? Knowing that it will not be in the palm of your hand forever, what would you like it to remember of you? Think of these things. Next, close your palm around the small glass vial containing our little drop, and imagine where the drop shall go. Water goes everywhere, both beautiful and foul. It does not judge disease any more than it praises a flower. It allows both to thrive equally. What goes with it comes from us. We judge the world through the watering of it. We praise the world this way as well. We use the water to accomplish it as our partner. It does not judge us. It merely serves us and our use of free will. We have now grown close enough to choose. Humanity has evolved just enough that it now has the capacity to comprehend bigger ideas than it once did. Humanity sees a bigger picture now than it has in the past. This is uncomfortable,
but good, and breathe. The vial is now gone. The palm of your hand feels cool where it once sat. The drop has returned to the rest of itself. What you have given it, it has now given to the rest. All of the water is you now. Keep it so. Namaste.